Hello world. I hope you're doing fabulously. I'm gonna just adjust this slightly. Get a little more booby action in there maybe. So I am here to do something that I've been telling myself that I should be doing, and I've been telling myself this for a number of years. And why it's come to me tonight as this might be the night to start, I really have no idea. 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, my mentor, Carol Maureen Friesen of the Lightworkers Institute, was kind enough to bless me with the gift of a online course known as Body Awakening Method. During that time, I was in a relationship and had just moved to a new city, where I was nowhere close to anybody that I knew except for my boyfriend at the time. So I packed up my life and moved 3.5 hours away from everything and everyone that I knew and took a chance. And that didn't exactly work out, the way one would hope, but it's all part of the journey, and I embrace that, and I appreciate that, and I continue to learn from that. So what the Body Awakening Method is it's part of a program that I had started taking back in, I want to say 2012. A course called Psychosomatic Therapy. I'm a level 3 practitioner of psychosomatic therapy. And I took this course originally to benefit myself in the current career path that I was on. And that course ended up changing my life. And I met some fantastic people. And I learned some truly, truly amazing things. The cat just fell down. I learned some truly amazing things about myself, and I'm forever grateful for the opportunity that the universe has given me in showing me that part of myself, and really getting down to the nitty-gritty. Psychosomatic therapy is the study of the relationship between the psyche, the mind, and the soma, the body, and how one and the other directly affect the other. English, not always my strong suit. Anywho, so I guess to start, it's probably best to tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Kelly Bedient. I am 29 years old. I have always had a very loving and privileged life. I have two phenomenal parents who you couldn't ask for better people. I've learned so much from them, and they have stood by me through thick and thin, like I know most parents would. But I am truly short of words to express the gratitude that I feel towards my mother and father. I have an older sister, Lauren, who is such an inspiration to me as a person, as a woman, as an independent being. She is truly just a fantastic human being. She is married to a kind and wonderful man, and they have two just gifts of children. My nephew McLean, who is, oh gosh, 6. Now I'm scared that I'm going to give these wrong ages, but 6, turning 7 in January, and Cameron, my niece, who is 8, turning 9 in December. They are pure beings of light, 100%. They're fantastic. They're wonderful. They're good kids. They're still kids. They can be little shits sometimes, but we're all little shits sometimes. So, I grew up on Lane Court, where I have some of my fondest memories. I think we moved out of there when I was about 7 years old. Every neighbor kid was out on the street playing with one another. I mean, I had a fairy tale life, or what some might consider a fairy tale childhood. I was very naive in my younger years and didn't want to hear about strangers and the possibility of people doing bad things. I never wanted to believe that anybody would ever hurt you or ever wanted to hurt you. And this was a lesson that my mom tried very hard to instill in me, in that, you know, it's okay to assume that other people are good, but they aren't always, and you need to learn how to deal with everything not being perfect. And that was a lesson that I didn't learn until I learned it many years later the hard way. Long story short, up until I was about 16 years old, things were absolutely peachy keen. I excelled in school, I excelled in sports. You could pretty much put anything in my hand and I could do it well. I lived for approval of my family, of my friends, of my teachers, of my sister, my idol. That's what I lived for. I lived to make other people proud of me. I lived to make, to be that person that people would talk about in a positive way. Which is fantastic, don't get me wrong. But that's not, I now have learned in the later years that that's not exactly what one should be doing their best for. One should be working hard and doing their best for themselves. Things took a very tough turn when I was around 16 years old, and I started struggling with mental illness. If you hear little random noises in the background, that is my cat, and she is my light in this dark basement suite. And she has hit an energy burst, and she's running around like a chicken with her head cut off. So 16 came, and emotions came, and boys came. Everything got real. Grade 9. Grade 9 was the greatest year of my life. And I don't know that everybody can pinpoint that greatest year of your life. Grade 9 was fantastic for me. I won numerous awards, athletic, academic. I was just riding high. Had my own provincial title. Was an MVP of almost every sports team that I played on. I'm not telling you this to toot my own horn, but just to kind of create a level of understanding that how I got to where I got, it was sudden, and the situations that I ended up in were completely unexpected. So anyway, back to grade 9. Amazing, loved it. Just stepped out of my comfort zone. I sang at a school talent show, like totally out of nowhere. Not at all my style. I love to sing. But I do have stage fright. So as high school approached, I started changing my focus a little bit from my academic future onto my athletic future, and of course that it's that time where that social aspect of your life becomes so important. And I was so eager to please people, um, that I, I didn't know how to take care of myself. I was naive. There's no other word for it. I was naive, and I had allowed, not for lack of effort on my parents' part teaching me how not to be, but because I really, really wanted to assume the best of everyone. Um, so I can't bring myself to go into depth about certain events that happened uh, in my when I was 16, 17 years old, um, because I'm not here to have people guess who was involved in certain things. Uh, that's not important. Throwing a name out there of somebody who maybe did me wrong isn't going to bring any justice to the situation. But long story short, I had some atypical teenage relationship, friendship things happening. Um, and I didn't realize that they were happening to me. And in turn, my mind didn't know how to deal with the negative that came with it. I had never properly processed negative emotions. I had never gained the ability to see that somebody was hurting me because I blamed myself. If somebody was hurting me, it wasn't their fault. It must have been something that I had done. I'm not saying that some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth is ever going to make sense. It doesn't even make sense to me nowadays when I think about it. But the fact is, there was a lot going on in my brain and in my heart that I just didn't understand. And I watched everything that I had worked so hard for fall apart right before my very eyes. I first attempted suicide when I was 16 years old. I remember the day. I don't remember. I'm missing a huge part of my memory, starting around age 16, going till about age 24. The day that I first attempted suicide, I had a fight with my boyfriend. And you're 16. You don't even know what love is yet. So if anybody who's 16 is watching this, you're young. Your first love may be your last love, but it also may not. And certainly no amount of stress from a petty little fight that you had with your boyfriend is enough to cause you to want to take your own life. There are situations where, yes, abusive relationships lead to suicidal thoughts and actions. This particular fight with my boyfriend at the time was not that situation. But I had myself convinced that I was failing at everything, and that no matter what I did, it was wrong. I didn't have the right friends. I would be friends with this group of people, but to be friends with this group of people, I couldn't be friends with this group of people. And then I couldn't deal with not being able to be friends with this group of people or being approved by this group of people. I had to be the athlete. I had to be the academic. I had to be the cool kid. I had to be the partier. I had to be you name it. And I had myself convinced that I had to be every single one of those things. Now, Of course, you can be anything and you can be everything. But there comes a point in time where you need to realize you can't be the best at everything. You can't be everyone's best friend. And one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn was that people aren't always going to like you. People aren't always going to treat you with kindness and respect. One of my psychologists once told me, I think there'll be about 7 people in your lifetime that will hate you. Most people have at least 7 people in their lifetime that will hate you. Maybe for good reason, maybe not. And that was like no, I've worked so hard. I'm trying to be so nice to everybody. I can do this and I can do that and I can fit with this group and I can be that and I can, wear my hair like this so that I fit in with this group and I can dress a little bit slutty so I fit in with this group. And all the boys need to like me, so I need to not be too smart and not be too much of this and this and that, right? You just this is me and that's you and who you are. It's beautiful. It's all beautiful. You don't need to, and you can't be everything that everybody wants you to be. And that is a lesson I really, really wish I would have learned at a young age. So when I was 16, I was diagnosed clinically depressed. I started medication when I was 16 years old. Now, medication is to say the very least, difficult process. Not every medication you try is going to work, and some medications are going to have the exact opposite effect of what you want them to do. So here I am, 16 years old. I have taken upwards of 150 pills, painkillers. I had a few drinks in the morning before I went to school. Because it got to be that every day was a struggle. It was a struggle to get out of bed. It was a struggle to hop in the shower, put on my makeup, just put on that smile, and be what everybody wanted me to be. It was hard. It was difficult. I don't say that I needed to be everything everybody wanted me to be because that's honestly what other people thought, but I sure as hell thought that's what I needed to do. My dad found me in my bedroom. I remember walking around the house screaming, and I heard him come in, went up to my room, and I hid the pill bottles under my bed, sat there and cried, and I don't even know why he came that day. I'd called Mom to let her know that I wasn't feeling well, and that I wanted to go home. And I guess they spoke to one another, and for whatever reason, Dad decided to come and check on me. To this day, I still don't know why. I don't know why he came, It was just like any other day of Kelly being sick. Have a tummy ache, go home, lie on the couch, lie in bed, go to sleep, right? But why my parents that day decided that they needed to check on me because they came home sick, I'll never understand, but I'm very, very grateful. And I thank God or the universe or whoever, whatever it was that helped bring them to me. Um, and so I sat there with my dad, and he asked me how I was doing and what's going on, and he was so close to walking away and saying, okay, well, if you need anything, let me know. And I pulled the pill bottle out and showed him. Um, the the rest of that day is a complete blur. Um, I remember him calling mom, and they called poison control. And I don't even remember getting to the hospital. I remember getting put in a pediatric bed. And being treated and having to drink activated charcoal, which I highly do not recommend trying. It's awful. It's terrible. It's gonna be graphic, but you literally puke and crap black. So, I mean, one part to save your life, and I'm pretty sure one part to deter you from doing it again, because it's not a fun process. That's when I met my first psychiatrist. Meow. Like, terrible experiences with psychiatrists. Not all of them, but honestly, most of them. And I hate to say that. You don't want to typecast them just because they're a psychiatrist. But I guess maybe I just really got the shit end of the luck stick when it came to psychiatrists for the first part of my healing. Or the first part of my journey, because it was not healing. I remember him walking in and he was in a black turtleneck, black hair. I don't remember his name. And I'm sitting in this hospital bed, and he sits in a chair in the corner, and I can't remember if my parents were there or not, but he's sitting there and he's asking me the questions, the same round of questions that I've now answered 100 times over in my lifetime. Do you drink? Do you do drugs? This, that, blah, 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 right? And then he asked me what happened prior to me deciding I didn't want to live anymore. And the only thing I can remember coming up with is that I had a fight with my boyfriend. And I just remember him looking at me and so smugly saying, so you had a fight with your boyfriend, so you decided to kill yourself. It's like, are you fucking retarded? Pardon my language, but are you dumb? No. 16 years old, the world is my freaking oyster. I did not decide to kill myself because I had a fight with my boyfriend. Like, why would you think for a second, as a psychiatrist, that would be the basis of that happening? And maybe it was just, I don't know. I can't even begin to understand his thought pattern. But it pissed me off. And so immediately, like I did with so many doctors after, I shut down. And decided that I was at fault. That I had no right to feel the way that I was feeling. I had no right to act out like I did. I had no right to put people out of their day, out of their routines to come and take care of me. I had no right to be in this hospital bed. I had no right. I had no right to do any of this. And I left that hospital knowing at that time that I was better off dead. People say suicide is an extremely selfish act. And they're not wrong, but they're not right. A lot of people with severe depression, they all they feel is pain in every sense of the word. Emotional pain, physical pain, spiritual pain. You can't, like, day in and day out, waking up and setting your feet on the ground is an accomplishment, but it hurts. The fear of leaving your house and having somebody look at you and judge you, and for whatever it might be, it hurts. And you live constantly. I lived constantly with the fear of what people were thinking about me. I didn't want to commit suicide to gain attention. I didn't want to commit suicide to hurt anybody. I wanted to commit suicide because I didn't want to feel the pain anymore. I didn't want for anybody to feel the pain of me anymore. I was a burden. And if I died, I knew people would recover, you know. They'll cry, they'll be upset, but they'll get over it. You know, they'll heal, they'll move on. And that's what mental illness is. It's convincing yourself of things that aren't true. But you can't tell yourself different. You can't. The wires are not connecting properly. I look back now and think, oh man, like, why would anybody think that way? Why would I care that Joe Blow doesn't like how my hair looks today? And I fear that he might say something. Like, that doesn't, like, Kelly nowadays gets it. Kelly back then, I didn't get it. I literally spent every single day walking by every single person and thinking their thoughts for them. Thinking, that guy thinks I'm not wearing enough makeup. That girl thinks I'm too skinny. This person thinks that I'm dumb. This person thinks that I'm fat. This person thinks this. This person thinks that. My teacher thinks this. My parents think that. My sister thinks this. I don't fit in. Blah. Like, just a plethora of constant negativity that I wasn't saying about myself, but that I knew people were saying about me. Now, the reality of the situation is that those were things that I was thinking about myself. They weren't things that people were thinking about me. I needed to be perfect. I needed to be perfect. I needed to be the best athlete. I needed to fit in with every group. I needed my hair to be perfect. I needed to be skinny. I needed to be successful. I needed to be smart, but not too smart, because boys don't like girls who are too smart. I needed to be what everybody saw as the best version of everybody, all wrapped up into one. A guy's girl, a girl's girl, a straight girl, a lesbian girl when the bar needed it. Like, I didn't know. I had no identity. I had no identity because I was constantly trying to be what I thought other people wanted me to be. It drove me insane. It drove me insane. And it hurt. Every single day it hurt. Because I was never good enough. I was never pretty enough. I was never thin enough. My boobs were never big enough. My feet were too big. I don't even remember age 17. There was graduation. I don't know. I remember every dream that I had falling apart. I got a small scholarship, a small basketball scholarship to a college out in Ontario. And the coach was known for being a sketchy character. So my family wouldn't allow me to go. And given this state that I was in and the type of person that I was, I am thankful that I didn't go. But that was my dream. My dream since I was a little girl was to play in the WNBA. I have a fourth or fifth grade project where it was draw a picture of yourself when you're 20 years old, and here I am in a sweatband with WNBA. I got blonde hair and dark roots for some reason. I don't know why I thought that was a fantastic thing back then. All the rage and style. I can't say my style has improved a whole hell of a lot, but at least I knew what I wanted. So when I couldn't go to this college, it was devastating to me. And the fact is, I was good enough to go to many colleges. But my mental health got so out of control that I couldn't even function. I couldn't go to a tryout. I tried, I did, and I got asked to play for them, right? But you know how they say don't live with any regrets? For the most part, I don't. I take everything that I've gone through, and everything that I've done, and every mistake that I've made, I take it as a lesson. And a gift, because you learn something from everything, right? Anything that happens, you learn from. My one regret is that I didn't get to play college basketball. Like, my one true regret is that I didn't get to play college basketball. That I didn't make the the WNBA, because I was good. I was good. And if I would have worked for it, I might have been able to do it. But, you know, life had a different plan for me. So I feel like right now that's all I have in me. We'll stop at 17 for now. It just continues to go. Just like it's bad from here on. I don't know necessarily that I'm always going to go into so much depth. 16 was a big year for me. It was a big life-changing year for me. So this is one that drains me. It drains me a lot when I discuss it. It's pretty heavy emotions. And I still don't completely understand everything that happened to me or was happening to me at that time. So, we will continue on next time, whenever that might be, from, 17, 18, when I got my new diagnosis. So, got about 4 of them. Yeah. So we got lots of fun stuff that we can discuss in the future. Yeah, I could, don't get me wrong, I could talk all night, but it is also almost 1 o'clock in the morning, so I better go to bed. So, I guess just this is to be continued.